Hi, my name is Mary Beth, and I'm a first grade teacher at Brentwood Elementary. Teaching elementary school is very, very exciting. You never know what's going to happen each day. A typical day in my world would be coming to school by 7:10, which is very early to many people, and the kids come in at 7:15. So clearly you can see there are many days that I come a lot earlier than that to be fully prepared for my little first graders. Basically, once I get to school, I have to check in and then get all the supplies I need into my classroom for the day from my mailbox and any other things that I may need just to borrow materials from around campus. The students come in at 7:15 and it's so exciting. They have smiles on their faces, their book bags are heavy and full. Some of the best days are when it's Christmas time for parties or Valentine's Day. They're carrying all their fun things, or if they want to share something from home, they come in all weighed down, big smiles, can't wait to get into class. Once they get into class, we get our day started immediately. Hopefully they've read a story and they're ready to take an AR test or want to get started right away on some morning work or need to go to breakfast. Once we get the day rolling, then we get right into reading and then some math. When it's time for lunch, some duties do come up at that time. We have different days that we have scheduled where we eat lunch with the students. We don't get glamorous off-campus lunches very often unless it's a planning day. So packing a nice lunch, something hearty and yummy, is really important to get you through your day. After we have lunch, we go straight into story time, which is probably the neatest part of the day because sometimes the students select the stories or we do author studies. It's a very fun time just to have a little bit of downtime that's less structured and really work on some awesome reading comprehension skills. Then it's time for fun, which the kids love, which is specials. Once we get to specials, they have different choices, and we go on a rotating basis for art, music, PE. Sometimes they have technology. We are a technology school. So the kids are really excited during this time. And once they go to their classes, they have a different teacher spend that time with them. So while the students are at specials, that usually gives me the opportunity to have a planning period where I can work with other teachers on my team to gain knowledge about what scope and sequence we're going to be following for the upcoming weeks, make my copies, work with parents that I may need to conference, or just have meetings in general. The afternoon time is spent mostly through working with language arts skills, science and social studies, and then the end of the day dismissal. Probably one of the most exciting times of the day is the end of the day where we do our daily wrap-up, where the students get to tell us about all the exciting things that they learned and what they enjoyed most about the day. I enjoyed that part of the day because it lets me really know where they are in their learning and also what motivates them to learn more and helps me plan future lessons. We do have afternoon duties, which would be either car line, we help load the students in their cars, or we have tunnel duty, or we have bus duty. I don't get to leave with the students, obviously. My work day is about a 7.5 day on scheduled 7.5 hours. I probably put in about 9.5, being that it's a technology school. We have a lot of meetings to learn all these really cool new apps for our iPads and iPad 2s and our Nanos, and trying to figure out how in the world can we get these wonderful technology tools into the students' hands. And even though it's first grade, the students use these regularly, daily in class. So I do put in a lot of extra time at night and on the weekends just trying to get my lesson plans together and creating the best 21st century lessons possible. There are quite a few requirements in becoming a first grade teacher. If you're just entering college for the first time, you'll definitely want to look toward taking elementary ed classes so that you can work toward gaining that degree. If you love it so very much and you want to learn more about it, of course you can work toward your master's, specialist, or work toward your doctorate as well. There are different requirements in general. Basically, you have to get your 4-year degree, and during that time of working toward getting the degree, you will also be required to do quite a few internships and just spending time within classrooms. There are so many different personalities that enter the field of education, but I think for sure to do elementary and first grade, some of the best personality traits that you really need to be successful are perseverance and motivation, and definitely be able to multitask. You never know what's going to come at you, and every single day is new and exciting. The best part of being a first grade teacher is being able to be in the trenches with the students, being part of their new discoveries every single day. Probably, I would say my most favorite part is when the students make real-world connections to something that I've been trying to teach them somewhat abstractly. For example, quotation marks. I'm trying to teach them quotation marks, and the students, we're working through some different really neat smartboard activities and such, and they will go pick up their favorite book and they'll say like, oh, look, this person is talking. Dr. Seuss is so funny, he said. And they point to the quotation marks. Or if we're working on contractions and they notice them in the stories, or if we're working on shapes and they bring in a cereal box and I say, look, a rectangular prism. I just think being part of those real world connections, I know when they leave my room, they're definitely going to be able to carry that learning into their world, which is, to me, one of the biggest goals in being a good teacher. Also, of course, with every best, there must be worst. So, and this one is a little bit difficult to think about sometimes because it's a little bit frustrating. I think, to me, the worst thing about being a first grade teacher is that you only have so many hours in the day, and if you're really trying to fit everything in, and on a typical day, I would say our stress level is probably about a 6. You're just not reaching every single child every minute of the time. There's one of you, if you're lucky enough to get a really good intern or parents in to help, that is awesome because then it gives you an idea that the students are getting more help as they work through their lessons. But some afternoons when I drive home, I really try to go back through my day and do some reflecting and think, gosh, did I spend enough time with Kelly on her math today? Or did Sam really understand that science lesson? But spending that time honestly turns those worst feelings into some of the best because I know when I wake up the next morning fresh and ready to go, I've already processed what I need to do next or what I need to tweak to make each day a different and better learning day for the students. And of course, they help me along the way with that. So as some final advice for those of you that think that you want to become a first grade teacher or an elementary school teacher, I would definitely suggest get in the classrooms. Find some teachers that you would love to model yourself after. See if they'll let you come visit. Work through your district or your county or your state and find some classrooms that are open for you to work with those students. Once you get in the classroom, you will be able to see all the magic unfold and also be honest with yourself to see if that's a good fit for you. It's really important to have a good fit. You have to love what you do. First myth, even though we go to school for 180-ish days, understand that there's no such thing as having June, July, and August as total vacation months. It takes a lot to prepare yourself for each school year. It takes a lot to wrap up a school year. If you are really, really dedicated to your profession, you will definitely use a lot of those months and the time within the month to not only take some downtime, of course, for yourself, but to also use that as professional development, learning time, collaboration with your teacher's time to really help that next school year get off to a great start. I think you have to have a passion for the process. It's essential, and if you can find the right niche for you where you really want to be, what's a good fit for you, you'll wake up every day as excited as I am to see your kiddos and help make their day the best it can be.